What's up everyone, VFPS here, and these are the best settings or the most optimal settings for Doom Eternal on console. Getting straight to the point, the Gamepad. In the beginning, I used the default controller. I have the most playtime on this one, and this is where all the changes and tweaks came from before I had started to level up my gameplay. After that, I had moved on to like a scuff reflex. Mechanically speaking, that controller was very nice for sure, but it really wasn't my cup of tea. If you're just starting out, just use what you like and get comfortable so you can have as much fun as possible as soon as possible. As of right now, I prefer a DualSense Edge, which is the PlayStation 5's Pro controller. It also has trigger stops, and you can customize the controller in the actual PlayStation settings, not just the in-game settings. We will speak on the system settings later in the video. Second, most important, your controller binds. Here are my controller binds. If you want to pause the video and take a screenshot, you can use this as a baseline and make small changes as your skill increases. You want to be comfortable on your preferred gamepad as much as possible. Customizing or remapping your buttons is crucial to getting the upper hand against Hell's demonic forces, and this is what works for me. The dash button was originally circle by default. On Xbox, it's the B button. I mapped it to the left analog stick because a lot of other FPS games use that as sprint. Reasons why is because you want to move, shoot, and look all at the same time without taking your thumbs off the analog sticks, especially in the midst of combat. Another button I changed is the equipment switch button. I have the equipment switch bound to the circle or the B button on Xbox, where the dash used to be. Since I'm just switching between grenades and the ice bomb, I wanted the button to be with the flame belch and the chainsaw, which makes for a quick button press away. Side note, after over 1,000 hours, I'm still trying to make a distinction between the noise they make, so don't feel bad if you have a difficult time with that. Those are the only binds I have on my controller. Every other button is in its default bind. I've seen other content creators also use bumper jumper. I say check that out if you're interested. Try experimenting as much as you can so you can find something that's comfortable that fits your playstyle. 3. Sensitivity. This game is very vertical, but this is a Doom game, so your horizontal sensitivity is still super important. I have my horizontal sensitivity at about twice as much as my vertical sense. My horizontal sensitivity is at about 81, and my vertical sense is at about 42. It helps me a lot so my aim isn't so jumpy and sporadic. And on the DualSense Edge, there's a special system setting specific to the gamepad where you can customize your sensitivity even further. I personally have my controller sensitivity set to digital on the DualSense Edge, so I can get that immediate feedback and really dial into my playstyle. Make sure to experiment so you can figure out what works for you. Part 4, weapon switching and weapon wheel. I was pretty excited when Hugo and the team brought the update in for binding weapons to certain buttons, but I personally had a hard time getting used to it. That was just a personal issue. After all these years, to change and swap weapons, I use the default bind, which is the R1 button on the PlayStation. On Xbox, it's the right bumper. I also have the weapon wheel set to 70 milliseconds. I started out using the weapon wheel at its default speed, and then I went down to 100 milliseconds, then after that to 70, which is as low as you can go. It was over a long period of time. None of this was immediate, so don't beat yourself up trying to learn the speed for each weapon. Just play and you'll build muscle memory naturally. Remember to have fun. Last but not least, in-game preferences. Now let's get into some actual Doom Eternal preferences. If you know, you know, just bear with me. These are the runes that I use at all times. Dazed and Confused, Seek and Destroy, and Air Control. You can switch out Seek and Destroy for anything else you want. Dazed and Confused is really important because it keeps the demons in a longer glory kill state. So when you have a demon in a glory kill, you can go and deal with something that's more immediate and then go back and finish the demon off. And I use Air Control because it's very important to me to be able to maneuver while I'm in the air. Some people might not use this, some people do. It's really on preference, but these are what's important to me. My field of view is set to 110, which is the max. If it's a little too jarring at first, raise it in small increments so you can get used to the camera lens itself. Raising it to the max immediately may be overwhelming, just take your time. And I also turn off my aim assist. I'll probably turn this setting off in Dark Ages. I didn't understand why people did this until I was in the middle of a run and I went to fire off a precision bolt and my reticle jumped to an enemy that I wasn't aiming at. To me, this is a risk. If you do not have your aiming dialed in, this might be rough for you to get used to. I also turn off motion blur. I think this is a must in my opinion. It cleared up a lot of the visual clutter and I believe my gameplay speed has significantly increased after making this change. Also, look smoothing. Look smoothing affects the overall camera movement, making it feel smoother and more fluid. It can also make the camera feel less responsive to quick movements. It has a general smoothing effect on the view of the game. That's what Google said. It may be different for others. Make sure to test it out to find out what works for you. I have this dialed into 0. Last but not least, film grain. I have my film grain set to 25. If you set it higher, it increases the visual noise of geometry in the game. I do not like that, so I set it to 25. Some people may have it higher just for realism or how it looks. It's all really preference. And in my opinion, those are the best and the most optimal settings for Doom Eternal on console. If I missed anything, please feel free to let me know, and if you just want to talk, drop a comment. I'll catch you later and have a great day. Peace.